Congressional Budget Office has released its latest estimate on the cost of Obamacare subsidies for poor and middle-class Americans. The figure shows the president's signature health care law is significantly over budget. Obamacare is projected to run a $1.35 trillion deficit. It will be expected to cost nearly $2 trillion, but bring in $645 billion in taxes, fees, and penalties over the same period of time. That works out to a cost of $50,000 for each subsidized person, and the forecast means there will likely be higher costs in the future. In a 2009 speech, the president vowed not to sign the law if it added to the deficit, and that the cost would be $30,000 for each uninsured American, covering about 30 million people. But even with the high price tag over the next decade, an estimated 31 million people will be without medical insurance, and costs for each individual will rise by 66%. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints issued a press release Tuesday stating support for the LGBT non-discrimination law in the wake of Utah considering SB 100, an act that would add sexual orientation and gender identity to the state's list of anti-discrimination protections. At the same time, the church reiterated support for laws protecting religious freedom and for not forcing religious institutions to perform same-sex marriages. The church also advocated for special protections for religious organizations, including the ability to refuse to perform same-sex marriages if the ban is overturned nationally. 19 states have passed religious freedom measures to ensure the right to religious practice, including the right to refuse to perform same-sex marriages. If the Supreme Court rules in favor of same-sex marriage in June, it is likely the next battleground will be whether or not churches can be compelled to perform same-sex ceremonies. The National Bureau of Economic Research has compiled job gain data from 2014 and has made a compelling discovery. Of the 3 million jobs created in 2014, 1.8 million of them were a direct result of the reduction in unemployment benefits. Federal unemployment insurance dropped to 24 weeks from 53 weeks at the end of 2013, a move opposed by the Obama administration. Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker has formed a political committee to expand his message before making a formal run for the presidency in 2016. Walker received strong support when he spoke at the Iowa Freedom Summit this past Saturday. The committee website, Our American Revival, launched Tuesday. Walker also hired former Republican National Committee political director Rick Wiley to run the effort. Walker's political career has been notable, winning 3 elections in 4 years, including surviving a recall in a state that twice voted for Barack Obama. The committee Walker formed is a 527, named for the tax-exempt code under which it is filed. Unlike his opponents, some of whom have formed political action committees, a 527 would give Walker more control over the funding he receives. Walker joins likely candidates Jeb Bush, New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, and Mitt Romney in the pool of potential Republican 2016 nominees. And actress Angelina Jolie is reaching out to the people of Iraq and drawing international attention to the victims slaughtered by ISIS. Jolie took a trip to northern Iraq on Sunday as part of a special envoy with the United Nations. Jolie visited refugee camps and said it was not enough, quote, to defend our values at home. We have to defend them here, in the camps, and in the informal settlements across the Middle East, and in the ruined towns of Iraq and Syria. This has been Amy Curtis with your Vigilant Liberty Radio News from Independent Journal Review for January 28th.
Well, welcome back to the show, folks. This is the Right Mics with Mike Miller and Michael Hausum. So, Miller, how fun to have Dan Joseph on, man.
Is he just awesome or what?
Right?
I mean, what did you messaged me something. I hope he's not listening because his head will explode, and rightly so, about like a mega smart guy or really smart guy, and he's on a roll. he's just again, like we both said before we had him on the show. I mean, we followed this guy for at least a couple of years, and I just love Dan Joseph. That was really fun.
Yeah, it's fun to get a big fat brain who's entertaining and aware of all the issues going on, and just say, "Hey, what do you think about this?" I just love that.
I do too. And to your point, you said something. Both you guys did that conservatives don't use humor enough. And that's why I love Gutfeld, by the way. And he's more of a libertarian, but that is so refreshing to hear. What'd you say? Like reading a position paper from the Heritage Foundation or something. That's why Joseph is so entertaining. And you just know. I mean, we ran out of time, and we both. Well, probably I talk too much, which is normally the case, but you just know, like the Lena Dunham video. And it's all about that race. While he's having fun doing that, if a liberal happens upon one of those things, that has to piss him off even more than reading the Heritage Report. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Speaking of the funny, did you on the blog post yesterday? I linked to that Penn and Teller thing on recycling. Had you ever seen that before?
Yeah, yeah. You know what? I'm thinking of something that I did see, and I did not last night nor this morning go to the post, but go to the blog. But I don't know. I think that's the best answer. I don't
All
for
right.
sure remember.
Speaking, I mean, the context being funny, yet still making a very strong point,
Right.
which obviously Joseph was doing with the Lena Dunham thing, as he did with all about that race. But that it's long. That the Penn and Teller thing's like 29 minutes long. It is so worth your time to watch it because just the genius combination of serious point and literally laugh out loud funny is just awesome.
It is awesome. By the way, I just laughed at something that completely unrelated to what you just said, and it's extra funny to me because you do it a lot, and actually, that's a compliment because sometimes you're looking at stuff right while we're talking, like unrelated stuff. So I put this picture up. Just to get to digress here, just very quickly. You've seen this picture, I'm guessing. It's black and white. It's side by side. It's showing Barry, and I don't know if he's still Barry then or he had switched to Barack. He's in college. Remember the Choom Gang? He's got the like mini Afro thing going on, smoking a cigarette or joint or whatever. He's got his legs crossed, wearing jeans, and it's on the left. This has been out there for a long time. There's a picture of Bibi Netanyahu in full military gear, looking like a badass stud, which he was. Um, got all the weaponry on him and the whole bit. So I put I put this thing up earlier today, and I said, and Obama's on the right. I said the guy on the right has his panties in a wad. Um, because he refuses to, well, I'm paraphrasing, he refuses to meet with the guy on the left because he is, when he's in DC to speak with, damn it, I'm multitasking, to give an address to joint session of Congress. So there's a very high profile attorney who's a Facebook friend of mine here in Indianapolis. He's someone that I can often have that conversation that I've talked about before. You actually have a conversation with a liberal when they don't get mad. So he just responded to it, and he said, tersely, I'm guessing, the guy on the right is our commander in chief, whether we like it or not. I just found that hilarious.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, anyway, have you seen that picture, by the way?
Wait, yes,
Yeah. All right. So
totally.
anyway, let's continue with the second hour. But yeah, Dan Joseph was awesome.
Yeah, super fun. And another one, just as a by way of announcement, the day after tomorrow, we have got another similar fellow. Tapson's going to be on Friday.
Love Mark Tapson.
Yeah, exactly.
Shall we say who we
All
have
right. Well,
on? Shall we say who we
so
have on tomorrow, or should we save that?
no, you know what? I think you can go ahead and announce it.
You think she's listening?
Um, I don't know. Go ahead and announce it anyway.
Well, no, I don't think she's at the level that we need to announce it. So we'll just we'll talk about it tomorrow. So, dude, we got a lot of stuff, and we're not going to get to half of it, probably. But where do you want to head?
I think we should. I think we should talk a little bit of politics.
Mhm. No.
Oh, I got a question for you.
Uh-huh.
Here's a question. Um, Dan mentioned it about the president chewing gum in India,
Hmm.
and I sent you a link. Tammy Bruce, uh, interesting lesbian conservative independent, put this up, and
I
her
would call
her
her.
take on
Go ahead. I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry.
you would call her what?
A conservative. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'd say she's conservative. Definitely, well, on most issues. She's saying that the gum chewing, and there's a picture of him. He's sitting there, and he's taking the gum out of his mouth and putting it back in with his fingers, right? At a parade. She's saying it's disgracing the office of the presidency. What's your opinion on that, Mike?
You know what? I think I'm not sure about it. And listen, I love Tammy Bruce. By the way, I've paid attention to her. She, not so much anymore, but for years, a contributor to Fox News, and I've read her stuff. And I mean, you're right. I mean, obviously, as a lesbian, she has different ideas on social issues than do, I guess, the strict conservatives. Although I'm kind of with her on most of that. I'm not sure that it necessarily disgraces the office of the presidency, but I think that, and he's done this before. Where did he? He did this in China recently. I think it is disgraceful to wherever he is out of this country when he's doing it. Particularly and almost ironically, hilariously, for this guy, who says Pakistan and Taliban and bows to Saudi kings and everybody, the Emperor of Japan and everybody but Burger King. Hell, he probably bows to him as well. So I think that, yeah, right. I mean, I think that that it's disgraceful to wherever he is, and particularly in light of the Chinese thing, he had to know, unless they shelter him from this and he doesn't get online or whatever, that that's just not what you do. So, forget the office of the presidency. It's disgraceful of him. He's a national embarrassment anyway. But I think it is disrespectful to the foreign countries where he does this. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, it reminds me of I did a post. Oh gosh, it was last summer, I think, where he was. There's the all those national leaders, and he's the only one waving in the picture.
Oh my God!
Uh,
And that wasn't photoshopped, and it described the picture.
oh, there's I think it was a NATO thing. So there's like 66 people in a picture, and they're all standing there. Some are smiling, some are not, as is particular to their cultures. It's like a group photo of all these national leaders. So you've got Merkel and Cameron and Hollande there, and all the national leaders involved in NATO. Um, and Obama's the only one waving. And
Yeah, but
here's
yeah, but he's waving, but what is he obscuring when he's waving?
oh, the guy behind him.
Exactly. He completely his hand is like open or whatever, but his palm, it completely covers the face of the dude either next to him or behind him.
Yeah, it's and there was another one, gosh, I think I forget where it was that I'd linked to. The same thing happened before, so it's not the first time. But here's the thing. For a guy that has such an incredible sense of self-importance and self-benighted stature, he has a complete lack of awareness of his role in things and what would be appropriate.
Well, see, and therein lies the hilarity with stuff like this, because as much as he cares, again, about saying Muslim and Pakistan and Taliban and everything else, his love of self, his narcissism, his sense of self worth trumps that even.
Right. Well, it's here's the thing is as just as a human being, um, just like for you and for me and for Jessica and everybody else, if